The Earth in the 21st century is in a state of perpetual change. We see it and we feel it every single year when we notice inconsistent wind patterns or rain patterns, or that the winds of winter aren't as temperamental as they used to be, or less temperamental than they should be. We see it in the way coastal cities are battered by floods and more storms year after year. We see it in the way lush places are beginning to turn to desert, and how deserts are beginning to flood with green. We see it in the way the birds seem quieter every spring. We no longer hear their song. We see it in the way the humidity that we feel every single summer creeps up our throats and our skins and feels more suffocating than usual. Now let me change directions. Earth's history is divided into a series of geologic eras or time periods where its planetary boundaries, its climate, its atmosphere, its geologic activity, its wildlife were pretty stable. Since the last glacial period, or what we know as the Ice Ages, we've officially been living in a Holocene, a period of time perfectly suited for us, humanity, a two-legged species with no thick fur, sharp claws, or anything really but our intelligence to survive and thrive spread to every corner of the globe. Through our communication skills, use of tools, and our sometimes foolish sense of curiosity, it is humanity that has actually been attributed to the extinction of Earth's megafauna, creatures so large and incredible you'd have trouble believing they existed. Some, such as the woolly mammoths, made possible by the Ice Age franchise. Some you may not, such as snakes the size of school buses, or birds the size of elephants, or giant ground sloths that would eat avocados, pit and all, whole like they were strawberries. Even cheetahs that would once roam the plains of North America, not Africa, hunting the still existing pronghorn antelope. Look it up. It's no surprise that those deer are almost laughably faster than any of their existing predators. It's because they evolved to escape a hunter that no longer exists. They're running from ghosts. I tell you all this because people will look at these shadows, these enormous shadows of the past, and tell you that we're still in the Holocene. But I'm standing here before you today to tell you that no, we are not. The fossil record will never forget the seemingly momentary collapse of these huge giant species, a collapse that is rivaled by the dinosaurs that were brought to extinction by an asteroid. However, this time humanity is the asteroid, in a term that has been coined many times before. And it is not just hunting that is now threatening biodiversity, life on Earth as we now know it. CO2 emissions causing a warming planet, overpollution, overhunting, and overexploitation of resources are also causing this biodiversity loss. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in the Anthropocene, the age of humans. We are the caretakers of our Earth, and it's time for us to decide if we care enough about this mass extinction to do something about it or not. It's not easy to think about the damage that we are doing to our planet's ecosystems. No, it's really not. Any natural park you will go to seems to say the exact otherwise. You look at the wild expanses as far as the eye can see and you say, how can we be causing a loss of life, a loss of resources? No, we're protecting it. But to refrain from sugarcoating it, humanity is causing this loss of biodiversity. And there are innumerable reasons why we should care. The first of which is that it directly harms us. Selfish sentiment, yes, I know, but when has humanity ever really cared about problems unless we can feel them under our own skin? And the first issue with a loss of biodiversity is really that we can feel it under our skin. As human beings have caused massive decreases in the organism composition of our biosphere, we have seen an interesting trend, a rise of diseases of all sorts all over the globe. And the reason for this is different than you may think. Due to increased sterilization of natural environments, the gut and skin microbiomes of bacteria that have worked with the human body for centuries have now been demolished. These microbiomes keep our immune systems and our digestive systems and our body systems healthy. But by diminishing these, we are now endangering our own health. Over 40% of children in the UK, with similar statistics in the United States and other developed countries, have developed severe allergic and inflammatory reactions to many things that are not really harmful to us. And this is just one symptom of the issues that are caused by a loss of biodiversity. Inflammatory diseases, lung diseases, inflammatory bowel syndrome. A lot of these diseases are caused by a loss of biodiversity. In short, human beings decreasing the organism composition of our biosphere is causing damage to us in ways that we can't imagine. However, it's not just inflammatory diseases. Infectious diseases, viruses, bacteria, these are also becoming more common in the 21st century because as human beings intervene in natural ecosystems, the biodiversity levels drop. And then the rate of infectious disease continues to rise. This is because many of the organisms affected by human actions are known as disease vectors. These organisms are the primary source of food for such fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, small insects that spread diseases such as malaria and West Nile virus. However, when we decrease the populations of these disease vectors, we see that fleas, mosquitoes, they tend to bite us more. We tend to get these diseases such as West Nile virus instead of the organisms that have specially adapted to not react to them. Due to invasive species introduced by us, habitat damage caused by us, the natural populations of these helpful disease vectors are beginning to plummet. Now, I'd like to ask all of you a question. How many of you have taken a painkiller in your life? An aspirin, perhaps? Raise your hands, please. I'd like to say that that's nearly all of you, most of you. Now, let me tell you this. Aspirin was derived from the willow tree, Salix alba, in its scientific name. Losing biodiversity comes with the danger of losing potential drugs that can be derived from the natural world. Roughly 60% of anti-cancer and anti-infective medications were derived from or modified by natural substances. The impact on the medical discoveries of the human field with a loss of biodiversity could be drastic. We could lose life-saving medications because we are not taking care of our planet. We are not taking care of the organisms that are helping us discover these things. Ecosystem services are defined as conditions or processes from natural systems that directly benefit or enhance social welfare. There's so many that are damaged when land loss, habitat fragmentation, pollution, and global warming all come into play. Landslides, widespread erosion, floods, smog, disease, crop failures, all of these happen because, well, think about it. The roots of trees keep dirt in place, right? Pollinators help our crops be healthy. Without biodiversity, we're looking at a massive loss of benefit to human society. And it won't be long before countries begin to feel this toll, especially developing countries, the developing world, who are not able to cope with this. However, it is not too late to change the practices of the Anthropocene. We don't have to feel these effects just yet. I'm going to use the medical field again as an example, but I promise I don't have anything against doctors. I love doctors. But, you know, traditionally the approach that we have taken with medicine in the 21st century is to try and combat nature. We sterilize surfaces for fear of germs. We take pills and medications for many sorts of diseases that temporarily alleviate the symptoms but don't treat the root cause. This is a practice that's in place to benefit the pharmaceutical industry, no doubt. However, it's not just the medical field that is trying to combat nature. In response to storms and flooding, we've built engineering marvels. We've built technological innovations that help us beat back nature. But we shouldn't be beating back nature. Human beings have been working with nature for centuries. We should be trying to work with it, shouldn't we? Well, that is, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm trying to tell you today. The career fields that we are looking at need to change. We need to try and find solutions to humanity's problems by working with nature. We shouldn't be trying to destroy it, beat it back. For example, mangrove restoration in coastal places, from the Everglades in Florida to even Bangladesh. These restoration projects have been proven to help coastal cities escape floods. They have reduced flood damage and storm damage, and they have been essential in protecting these communities. These mangrove projects have given them jobs. They take to make a living. And urban restoration projects, urban planning projects, such as green walls, green roofs, parks, cities, using permeable cement to help increase groundwater, all of these things that we can implement into our cities, implement into our engineering, our construction, all of these things can be helpful in working with nature instead of against it. It is not too late to do this. It is not too late to do this for our health, for humanity's health, for our future generations. Unlike the pronghorns of North America, I would rather not be running from ghosts. Ghosts that we created when we refused to look at what was happening to the world around us. Thank you very much.